One of RedThread's design principles is around knowledge building, but really at the heart, we are talking about how we are integrating knowledge building and foundational skills, just as we've kind of started to talk about. And so I'm curious, Carol, to hear from your perspective a little bit. If you can share, how have you seen students in your schools really benefit from this integrated approach of knowledge building and foundations really coming together at Storefront Academy?
Okay, thank you. And glad to be here. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about third grade because I spent a lot of time with third grade this year. And also because we were able to bring on Red Thread Foundations and Knowledge for K through 2 last year, but this year it's all new for grades 3 through 5. So with Red Thread Foundations in third grade, what was exciting and engaging for students was the ability and the opportunity to immediately apply their phonics skills that they had newly practiced, as well as morphology, particularly in the peer reading. They love that. They would listen out for when their classmate got it right and were reading fluently, but also they listened closely for the opportunities to help them kind of, make that correction based on what they had just finished learning and practicing with their teachers. And from there, after reading through the text, they also had an opportunity to engage in deep discussion, conversation, to really deepen their understanding around the text that was connected in their workbook to what they had just practiced and learned, and then also to write about it. And we really saw a stronger responses, more thoughtful responses, really grappling with the text and challenging each other around, does that really mean this? Let's go back in the text, practicing close reading, even with, the text that they engaged in their workbooks. So that alone was like, this is a win. This is going to work. Because I had to admit, a little concerned about introducing, foundational skills in third grade as much as we knew that we needed it for third, fourth, and fifth, because that was holding us back in terms of really expanding and enhancing our students' reading abilities and interests, actually.
It's so exciting, Carol, to hear, especially in third grade, just what the integration of foundational skills and knowledge has really done for students' engagement. Even it sounds
Mhm.
like your students were super invested in reading and rereading
Mhm.
these passages about topics they were learning about. I'm curious to hear what that also looked like, and how those foundational skills maybe started to integrate into the knowledge
Mhm.
building curriculum and that knowledge component when they're reading, novels and things like that.
Well, even with the first unit, where they read Year of the Dog by Grace Lynn, I don't even know if students were aware that they were using those foundational skills. But as I heard them read and I heard them talk about the story itself, I knew, oh yes, I see where you use that, and you were able to use that, that affix to make me, to understand a new word. And they were just so engrossed, and it empowered them, and it gave them, agency around not just the reading, but the discussion and really the process of deepening their understanding and making meaning of the text. If I could share one example that really just resonates with me was, I don't remember the chapter, but it was all about Thanksgiving dinner. And Pacey was really struggling internally with the idea that, okay, mom agreed to make a small turkey, but then she wanted to make fancy cakes out of the sweet potatoes. And she insisted upon having, the more traditional Taiwanese noodles and other favorites. And the conversation that our students were able to have around that, and the connections that they made. It was just so relatable because our students come from, different countries in the the Caribbean, South America, Central America, different countries in Africa, and they just enjoyed talking about like how do they uh, make meaning and discuss and celebrate more American traditions, yet still hold on to their backgrounds and see that it's valuable. It's something they can be proud of. They don't have to let go of it. And that, like Natalie said, that just helped them to want to continue to read and see what would happen next. And they really found the whole experience rewarding. Um, Using those foundational skills as well as working on their comprehension.
Such a great story, Carol. I especially hearing I was really struck by how you said you didn't even know if they realized that they were using those foundational skills as they're reading. So that is truly the transferable part of this. Like we are integrating these two skills and concepts for many reasons, but also we want students to then be able to apply those in really authentic ways so that they can then really have the brain power to then think deeply, not only about the topics they're reading, but what it means to them. And I love just hearing the connections that they were able to make to themselves and to other people in the classroom and really take the knowledge and the topic to a much deeper level.
Mhm.
Um, that was such a special story. Thank you, Carol, for sharing that.